Hey, Johnnie Roberts, welcome back to your podcast. It's going to be an exciting one. Are you ready?
I am so ready for spring, ready for flowers, to mow the grass, man, all that kind of stuff. Up here in Michigan, it's not quite there yet, but you're kind of getting closer now. So
Yeah,
it's exciting.
it is exciting. That's one thing I love about you, man. Is you play lifestyle into everything. It's just life. You got to enjoy life, whether it's mowing the yard, going on camping trips, or hugging your new grandbabies and just loving on them and sitting in a rocking chair for a few hours, just loving on them. That's life. That's what it's about, and that's what you really help people do in building a
Yeah,
retirement plan.
it's funny when I like doing yard work. It's so crazy. I mean, mowing the yard, making it look good. It's like I've turned into for sure a grandpa. Just but you can tell if you start loving yard work at some point. You're like,
That's
when
right.
you're like 25, you're like, man, I gotta mow the stupid grass real quick.
Right.
You out there bust through it, man. When you're my age, you get older, at least me and people I know, you're getting the edger out, you're trimming all the bushes, you're making sure all the lines are good on your yard.
Yeah, it's
Like
funny, isn't it?
it's crazy. My wife's making beautiful flowers all over the place and everything. So our first house did not get nearly the love and attention
Oh yeah.
yard as this one. The sprinkler system goes down. I'm trying to figure out, I got to fix this before the grass gets brown and all that. I also love snow blowing too, which is so weird. I got to use it a lot this winter in Michigan. We bought a
Dude.
new snowblower last year and I never used it once, but this year, man, I must have used it 8 or 9 times. It was so
Yeah.
much fun. But
That's therapeutic, buddy.
yeah, it is when you just get out there. But
Yeah.
it's yeah, it's crazy, man. So I got to do a podcast on just loving yard work
That's
uh
right.
one of these times because it
Well,
is.
we should because that's part of retiring at new heights, right? You
Oh
should be able
man,
to do yard work, not worry about money, and love life, and that's what you help your clients create. I think that'd be a fun podcast, man.
that would be a great podcast.
All right,
Absolutely.
I will put it in here in our show notes about yard work, loving yard work, right?
That's right. Mow that grass.
Yeah, love it. Okay. Well, let's not talk about that today. But today, what I want to talk about is we've been talking about in life insurance in this mini episode, mini series that we're doing. And one of the questions that pops up is, how much life insurance do I need? Is there like a formula or something? How do you figure that part out?
So yeah, everybody's different, of course, but I'm gonna go over some general rules and general
Yeah.
concepts. First off the box, we want to make sure when we pass away, all the burial stuff, whether it's cremation or burial, funeral, all that stuff is kind of covered, right? And we
Mhm.
know with inflation, just generally over time, 15 years ago, $10,000 maybe. Now you're getting closer to 15. And sometimes when these places know you got life insurance and stuff, that you're going to go from the nice wood casket to the gold plated casket. They're like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, look at this. And what happens when honestly, when someone you love dies and you go somewhere to begin to plan out that funeral, your emotions are like, oh, they got to have the best. Oh my gosh, they got to have the best. So regardless whether it's right or wrong, it happens to people. So that's the first thing you got to cover. What else do we want to cover? Well, how about uh, bills, mortgage, that kind of thing? If I pass away, can my house be paid off? Can they at least have the finances to pay that off? And if you got a dual working family, husband and wife or whatever, and they're both bringing money into the family, either way, wouldn't that be nice to make sure I have the money to pay off my house if I need to?
Absolutely.
Okay. That's a great thing and a protection. And it's like the story I told a few weeks ago, man, is changing that clients of mine's life that her husband had passed at a fairly young age. And she had called and said that, hey, thank God I had this because at least I can make sure my house, I don't have to be out of my house.
Right.
So anyway, that's one of them. Now we're during our working years, right? We're anywhere from that 25, 30 years old, all the way up to 60, 65 years old, whatever it is. And I want you to think about something. Husband, wife would say Paul and Julie. Okay. Paul makes $100,000. Julie makes $80,000, whatever. Paul passes away. What is Julie going to get? Well, she'll get, if he has any retirement money, she'll be able to, that'll transfer over to her in a 401 or whatever, still taxable. Okay. maybe has a little bit of life insurance at work.
Yeah.
But what is she losing outside of all the emotional support, spiritual, all that kind of stuff? She's losing $100,000 for the rest of her life.
Yeah.
Their family budget is based on what?
Probably
$180,000.
both. Yeah. Probably both.
Okay. Now they may save and do all this and travel, but their lifestyle is based on that much income.
Yeah.
So Julie's income is being cut more in half by more than half, but yet her lifestyle is here.
Yeah.
So when you're planning life insurance, you want to look at it also as replacing the loss of income during
Mhm.
those working years, at least, correct?
Yes.
Because
Absolutely.
I'm not going to have this 100,000. I was planning on it for the next 18 years. Now that's not going to happen. So paying my house off or having the money to do that, that helps a lot. But also, I want to try to protect the loss of income in case this happens. So generally, we try to look at 7 years, 7, 8 years, or some, depending on budget and what all you got going on. How do I make sure that I'm going to have enough money to cover that loss of income for the next 5 to 7 years? Now, why wouldn't you do 20 years? I mean, you could if you wanted to,
Yeah.
but basically, what you're trying to look at is I'm going to get all that money up front in a lump sum tax free. Now I can take that money, invest it, get interest on it, begin to do that to protect me after that seventh year is over.
Yeah.
Okay. So I can utilize this money knowing our lifestyle necessarily doesn't have to change too much. And also, I can take this money and begin to get interest on it, let it build up over time. So once that 7 years has passed, I still have funds that this life insurance is helping me with the rest of my life.
Hmm.
So um, it's just looking at it those type of ways: bills, uh, income,
Hmm.
final expenses. Also, I want to make sure my grandkids or kids, if I'm younger,
Right.
something happens to me, I was planning on helping with college or doing this or that for them. Life insurance can also cover that loss that
Hmm.
won't happen now because you passed away. Or if you're a grandparent, and you're just, I want to make sure no matter what, I want to be a blessing or whatever it may be to my grandkids or family. I pay this little bit of premium. So when I pass away, they're going to get some tax free money. Maybe it's to help them buy a house.
Right.
Maybe it's to help them go to college. I don't know, but leave a little bit of a legacy down for them. You may not have enough money in your bank account to do that, but you can take a small portion of what's in your bank account and make that money multiply. Now, that's wisdom. If you can, there's parables in the Bible where someone's like, remember that parable? Basically, we'll say, use this example. Jesus, the owner gave this guy $1. He came back years later or down the road. How much have you made? I made $1. I didn't make anything. One guy um, gave $5 to. I'm just using that easy numbers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Came back and he said, "How much did you make?" Man, I doubled that. Here's $10. Really good. That's cool. One guy come back. Hey, I gave you this money, uh, this dollar or whatever. How much did you make? Man, I got $15. You
Yeah.
know, and that's what life insurance, in a sense, can do for you. You can take this little bit of money that you're paying relatively out of your budget to invest in this, so that money becomes worth this much money they want.
Yeah.
Right. And it doesn't even account the cash value stuff we talked about last week, living benefits that are on a lot of these policies we've talked about in the past. It just makes, once again, how do I make these dollars worth more than what they are? Life insurance is a way to do that instantly once you get approved, and it will generally always outrun what you put into it.
Yeah.
98% of the time, it will outrun what you put into this plan. So it's using those same principles, right? How do I make this money worth more than what it's worth?
Right.
Um, you know, in reverse. So taxes, we think I have $100,000, it's only worth 80,000. With life insurance is reversed. I
Right.
have this $10,000, but it's now worth $200,000
Right.
in case something happens to me. So it's a little bit of wisdom there to utilize to look at life insurance as a vehicle like that, making your premiums, your investment in it, um, and grow instantly
Yeah.
in case
And
you pass away to
I think
cover
it's a
those
really
needs.
good, wise thing to say there is looking at it as an investment, as part of your entire retirement plan. Because when we make investments, we expect a return. And because insurance is contractually done with a company, they're under contract to return a death benefit, or as we'll talk about in the next episode, probably the living benefits of a properly structured um, insurance policy, where you can access some capital during your life and still have a death benefit when you're done. And they're just and not to mention some of the other things that it can help provide, like long-term care and stuff like that, that I want to talk about in this mini series. Because that life insurance, yeah, if you put in $100, whatever the premium is, you get lots of value that's there for a multiplicity of uses that might just happen.
Absolutely.
Don't happen, you still have all the use of that money, which is one of the coolest things about life insurance as an investment and as part of your retirement plan. And that's what I want to keep diving into, because if the people listening are like me, at first it's just really confusing. And the more you read about it, the more you listen to podcasts like this, the more you sit down and talk with experts like Johnny, it starts to become less confusing. You're like, oh, I understand now, because life insurance today is a lot different than it was 30, 40, 50 years ago.
Yeah, it's sorry about that, Mike, but it's just like looking at it as an investment. It's not like putting in the stock market or 401k. What are you investing in? You're investing in security and protection for your family. On top of that, there's other things that it helps. But first and foremost, that is what it is. And what's cool about today with some of the products and stuff is you can do combo things. You know, we talked about the different types. You can have $100,000 that's going to be there rest of your life, but also have, $800,000 during the next 20, 30 years. It's going to cover that loss of income, cover the mortgage, whatever it may be. Because generally, when you get older, you need less insurance unless you're doing like a legacy thing or supplementing retirement or whatever it be, but strictly just insurance, right? How much life insurance do I need? Man, get something that we're going to have there long term, permanent type thing, as well as a bigger amount that's going to cover that need for a term of time. So you can combo this stuff up to make it, so to say, a Big Mac with fries
Sure.
instead of a Big Mac. You can do these combos to make
Yeah,
that meal even more special, right?
that's right.
So, although that's not very good for you, but
I was gonna say we gotta find a new restaurant. I'm sorry. But yeah, you could supersize it. But I want to talk about that in the next episode, about the what I would call the living benefits of life insurance, because I think there's a lot that can be done to help protect people during their life and prepare them for when they pass, to protect their family. Like your recent client who had life insurance, her husband passed away, she got a big chunk of money to pay off the house. She doesn't have to sell the house. She's stable, she's relaxed. And that's just one little tiny aspect of life insurance. There are so many other things that we want to talk about, because it should be part of most people's retirement plan. It's not for everybody, but you don't know until you sit down and talk with Johnny, and he'll help you understand your needs, your desires, your plans, where life insurance may fit in, what type of life insurance, how you can utilize some living benefits, all of that as part of the
it, I'll say this last thing real quick, then we'll go. Is that most folks, when they're dealing with a lot of financial planners or professionals, the emphasis that should be put on life insurance isn't always there. It's all
mm,
about saving for the retirement, which is so important, and I believe in that. That's one of the greatest things we do, of course. But life insurance should be at least looked at for everybody, regardless of what you have. And like we talked about a couple of weeks ago, Mike, and even off camera here in the green room, um, you just are doing a book on the Rockefellers, some of the most wealthy
yeah,
families in American history. And guess what was part of their financial? Go ahead and tell us, Mike. What was part of
yeah,
their financial plan?
permanent life insurance,
Life insurance.
generation after generation. Yeah,
Absolutely. So it's something to always have to take a look at no matter where you are in life and all this kind of thing, is part of your overall,
Yeah,
whether it's portfolio or whatever you want to call it. There needs to be an emphasis on at least checking that out. So
absolutely.
we will always try to put that in front of you because it is a special thing. I've had too many phone calls of people that have passed away early,
Yeah,
um, or even later in life, that have just, thank God they had that life insurance.
yeah,
So
yeah. You'll never regret having too much life insurance when that day comes. So, Johnny,
nope.
thank you. Thank you for a great conversation. Can't wait to get back and keep this mini series going on life insurance and the different elements of it to help people retire at new heights. So, reach out to Johnny, get a free copy of his book, sit down, talk with him about how to retire at new heights based on your specific situation. Thanks, Johnny. We'll talk to you soon, buddy.
All right. Thanks, Mike.